Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to my podcast, or welcome to my podcast, Rewire to Inspire. I am your host, Jessie Brown, and I am beyond excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all for episode number 189. If you missed my last episode, number 188, we chatted about what part of you are you hiding? I really enjoyed that episode. I feel like I actually say the same thing every time I start my episodes, but it's so true. And I'm just always so excited when the content is done and I listen back and I get to hear from you guys and review it. And I just get really excited. And so I think I know the reason that I'm always introducing my podcast in the same manner is because every time I am excited, I am honored, and I'm just so excited to chat with each and every one of you. Today is Boxing Day. When you are listening to today's episode, it will be December 26th, so Boxing Day. If you celebrate Christmas, I hope you had the best Christmas yesterday. It's so weird sometimes recording content that isn't going to come out until the future and then listening back to it, but I hope you guys are all having an amazing winter break. If you have a break, if you don't, I hope you take some time to take care of yourself and just take a moment to pause and reflect and just come back to yourself, because I know it's a crazy time of year. Even if you yourself do not celebrate Christmas, it is busy, it is crazy. I am so excited and happy to say that my Christmas shopping is finally done upon recording this, which is December 22nd. I finished yesterday. It was absolute mayhem going to town. However, it was fun. One of my love languages is 100% gift giving. And on my adventure, I found this little lanyard at the dollar store. So if you're watching video, I hope that you enjoy looking at Santa Claus and the reindeer behind me, because I thought it was cute as a bug's ear and I needed to get it. I thought it was so cute. But hi, you guys. Today's episode number 189. I thought of today's episode. I feel like it's always interesting for me to give the backstory of how I come up with my episodes, because so many of you guys ask me, how do you continue to think of content? And to be honest, some days I wonder the same thing. I genuinely do. And I don't want to act like I have it all figured out and it's so easy, because there's days I will sit there for hours and I have nothing. But today's episode surfaced when I was sitting in the bathtub. And I was sitting there thinking of what my personal New Year's resolutions are going to be, what my New Year's goals are going to be. I like to call it my intentions. What are my intentions for the next 365 days that I want to consciously focus on to improve by 1% every day, to get myself closer to a healthier, better version of myself? Whatever resonates for you. We all have a different relationship with January, whether you set goals, whether you don't, whether you have intentions, whether you don't. But I thought of a couple of things that I think are important resolutions that are often overlooked. It's so easy to say, I want to make X amount of money. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to go on a big trip, whatever. As always, my content is around mental health and self-improvement and improving that self-love relationship with yourself. And so I knew that I wanted to throw in and give some ideas of some things that you might not have thought of, but that are actually really important if we want to make this next year a great year. So without further ado, let's dive into those. I just made some coffee and I hammered a donut before this. And fun fact, side tangent, I'm not really a sweets person, but we had our basketball party last night and I took home a donut and I was like, I'm gonna eat this donut with my coffee tomorrow. It is now 5:00 p.m. and I did not eat my donut with my morning coffee. So I made some this afternoon so that I could eat my donut. So gonna have a drink of that because my coffee always goes cold. Always. My thing with coffee is I have to microwave it and I always spill it. But anyways, it's neither here or there. I am all over the place. It's Christmas break. I'm excited. I'm all over the place and I hope that you are too. Without further ado, let's chat about some resolutions that you might not have thought of. Okay, coming in strong. Number 1. Oh my God. Duh. This is the most obvious one that Jessie Brown could have on her podcast. Self-prioritization. How can you make it a resolution for you to prioritize yourself this next year? I wanted to share this one with you all because this was the first one that I wrote down in my personal resolutions. I want to get better and improve prioritizing myself. Now that's going to look different for each and every one of us. Maybe you have kids, maybe you have a spouse, maybe you have a house, maybe, you travel a lot for work, whatever. It's going to look different for each and every one of us. How we prioritize ourselves is going to look different to each and every one of us. But I really don't think any of us are at a place where this couldn't have some form of improvement. I know for me, this needs massive improvement. I am so good at putting everyone else externally ahead of myself, and I forget to look after the most important person, which is me. And it's the same for you. The most important person that you can look after going into 2024 and throughout the year and for the rest of your life is yourself. Because if you are not well and your cups are not full, and again, these are things that we hear time and time again, but we don't really listen. And it's easy in the run of a day to just overlook the importance of self-prioritization and in the moment feel guilty, which last week I talked about that on Tuesday. Guilt takes over. So how can you make this something specific? Whether it's something every single day, I'm going to take 15 minutes every single day and do something I love. I'm going to check in with myself every single day. Whatever it is, make it specific, because if it's just a generalized idea or, want, you're likely not going to take action on it. But if you have something specific that you can do to prioritize yourself every single day, that is how you will begin to improve that relationship with yourself, which in my opinion, there's no point of having all these other goals if you're not prioritizing yourself intentionally first. All right, number 2. All of these are ones that I'm preaching because I don't do them and I need to get better at them. That's not true. I do some of these, but ones that I see most common that a lot of us struggle with, and I'll be the first to admit that I struggle with these. So number 2 is resting and recharging. This kind of goes with self-prioritization. But if you listen to this podcast or you're even in the realm of self-improvement, I can almost guarantee you that you are a high achiever, you are someone who feels guilty and obligated to always be doing something, you feel like a chicken running around with his head cut off, you're just like boom, 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 one thing to the next to the next. It's so important we take time to rest and recharge. And I'm saying this, and it's like, Jessie, when will you get that for yourself? Because I struggle with this one so bad. But it is an intention that I'm going to work on this year. What does that look like for you? Again, we need to get specific. Does that mean maybe at the end of the night, I take a bath at the end of the day, and when I'm in the bath, I listen to meditation music? Maybe it's I cook myself a meal every day that I really love. Maybe it's I go for a walk in the morning. Maybe it's I put on my favorite show at the end of the day for half an hour, or I read for half an hour at the end of the day. I don't know what it is for you. What is something that refills you? It allows you to rest, it allows you to recharge, and it brings some energy back to you that you've likely left places throughout the day. We got to refill that battery up for you this year. And again, girlfriend, same here. I really struggle with that one. So, okay. Number 3, self-talk. I talk about self-talk. If anybody ever gets into a deep conversation with me and they really start to ask me about what I do, what I'm passionate about, self-talk will almost always come up in the conversation. Because to me, it is one of the most important things that we can work on for ourselves. If our self-talk is garbage, the quality of our life is gonna be a mirror to that. Because what we tell ourselves inside our head is gonna be the reality we're creating for ourselves in the external world. How we're talking to ourselves is almost dictating the lens in which we will view all circumstances. If we tell ourselves things are bad and negative and crap and, pointless, whatever, we will begin to see things as such. And if you just heard that huge rumble in the background, that was my fridge. Little fun fact about me, my fridge likes to make this loud bang like twice a day. When I first moved in, it would scare the heck out of me all the time. I'm kind of used to it now, but if you heard that was my fridge doing its little midday shake. Okay, self-talk. We need to begin to catch the things that we tell ourselves in the moment of telling ourselves. This week, my mental health has been kind of like a little wishy-washy, and I know that that's been because I've been stressed. When I'm stressed, my self-talk goes meow because I'm overwhelmed. My window of tolerance becomes next to nothing. I'm on edge. I'm in that hyper-aware state. I'm in that sympathetic state. I'm feeling like I'm out of control. And in those moments, I need to catch myself and notice what I'm telling myself. Self-talk is something we can always improve, we can always get better at, but I think it's something that a lot of us struggle with. I know that it's something that a lot of us struggle with, and I think that that's a really large focal point, especially if we're setting other goals. If our self-talk is toxic, it's going to be hard to be consistent with our goals if we're telling ourselves a negative narrative inside of our head. So that is number 3, is self-talk. Number 4, this is one that I shared at work the other day, and we were going around the table talking about what we want our intentions to be for 2024. And I said this one and everyone was like, oh, like that's a good one. Posture. I have terrible posture. I'm more mindful of it than ever in my life. And I can always hear my mom saying, roll your shoulders back, stand up straight. You're going to be a hunchback someday. I don't know why. I think it's because for so much of my life, I've struggled with confidence that I've kind of turtle shelled myself and turned inwards. And then that's kind of just been the way that my spine has formed. But posture is something that we can all begin to work on. Not only is posture good for us physically, it's very good for us mentally. When we stand up straight and we're confident and we have our neck up and our shoulders back, it actually releases feel-good hormones into our body because it's communicating confidence. It's communicating that we feel good. When you see someone standing in a certain posture, you're kind of getting a subconscious nonverbal communication from that person. When someone's slouchy, it's very easy to see like, oh, maybe they're struggling, maybe they're a little bit sad, whatever. So posture is definitely one that I don't think a lot of us think of, but is something that if we all improved a little bit more, again, not only would our body thank us, our mind would thank us. Okay. Number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5. It's time to go to therapy. It's time. I have done many episodes about therapy. You guys, we would be naive to think that the pandemic didn't rock all of our worlds, because it did. Whether we want to admit that or not, it did. Before that, I'm sure you had a lot of stuff beneath the surface you hadn't dealt with, because we all do. It looks different for all of us. And if you've never gone to therapy or dealt or healed your mental health, and it's just sitting in your beautiful body, eventually that's going to catch up to you. And that's affecting you every day, whether you realize that or not. Let this be the year that we all focus on healing a little bit more. We focus on dealing with our childhood and our inner child wounds and even just our adult experiences that are stressful. Therapy is one of the best places to be, to allow our nervous system the opportunity to reset and to find that homeostasis state again that it's craving so bad. All of these are so connected together, right? When we have that bad posture and we're negatively talking to ourselves and we're not taking time to rest and to recharge and we're not prioritizing ourselves and all of our traumas just sitting in our body, we are just walking ticking time bombs. Stress is one of the biggest killers in the world. It's the silent killer. Yet we don't really realize or talk about that. And so much of that has to do with the pain that we've suppressed and we've pushed down and we've ignored and we've neglected for insert reason here. Maybe the thought of going to therapy is overwhelming. Maybe it's scary. You don't know where to start. You've never been. You don't know what to think. Those are all normal feelings to have. But I will advocate to go to therapy until I'm blue in the face, because I know it's the only thing that helped me overcome so much of my pain in the past and to allow my brain to process it. Imagine a world where we all dealt with our stuff in a healthy way and felt worthy to do that, because I know a large part of going to therapy is that we don't feel worthy to be there. My love, you are so worthy to go and to talk about the things that have affected you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so I put that one on there because therapy is one of those things that's so easy to push. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it when. Why not now? Why don't we set that intention now and just see what happens? Maybe you go to just one session, you're like, this is not for me. You tried. That's step one. I just think that it's a place that no matter where you're at, it's one of the best places that you can be. Okay, on to the next one. What are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 6. I'm looking at my screen, my notes, by the way, if you're like, what are you counting? If you're watching video. Okay, number 6, getting outside your comfort zone. Let this be the year you get outside your comfort zone. You do something new. And number 6 and 7 are kind of a little bit interchangeable. So I'm going to say them together. Number 7 is trying new foods. Again, a way to get outside your comfort zone. Our taste buds change every 7 years. And I notice myself saying, I don't like that. It's like, I don't know that. The last time I tried it, I was 6 years old. How do I know that I don't like it? There's probably areas of your life that you're staying inside your comfort zone because you've told yourself a story based on an experience, based on something you've witnessed where you're like, I don't want to do that. One of the best things that we can do is try new things. Get outside our comfort zone. Get uncomfortable. If you don't like it, at least then you can say you've tried. The same with the food. If I don't like it, it's like, okay, well now you know again that you don't like it. This year I found out I like tomatoes. I told myself my whole life, and maybe I didn't at one point in time, but I had convinced myself that I hated tomatoes. And one time my partner made me salad and he put tomatoes in it, and I wasn't about to be like, hey, I don't like those. And so I ate it. And I acted like I've liked tomatoes my whole life because I was like, oh my God, this is good. Again, just funny examples of ways that we put ourselves into boxes. We paint these stories for our lives of what we think we like, we think we want to do, we think we're good at, we think we're bad at. We don't know. We stay in the same narrative for our whole life until we decide consciously that we want to pivot that for ourselves. And so let this be the year you get outside your comfort zone and you try something new. Maybe there's been something that you've said for years you want to do, but you've been too scared to do it. Hey, that's okay to be scared. It doesn't have to mean that it's going to be easy. But getting outside your comfort zone is one of the best things that we can do. Okay, number 8. Journaling, reflecting, putting things on paper. I started journaling this last year almost daily. I definitely journaled the last several years, but this year I was very intentional about showing up as often as possible. And I am so grateful that I did, not only because in the moment it felt good, but now I can read back and see how far I've come in a year. What the things were that I was dealing with a year ago that now just seem so silly to worry about. Journaling and reflecting is one of the healthiest things that we can do to get out of our head and slow down our thoughts, to stop the catastrophizing that happens when our thoughts just go one to the next, to the next, to the next. Putting it on paper, again, allows us to slow it down, but allows us to have something tangible that we can look back on. All right, 2 left. Number 9, quality time outside. I cannot stress this one enough. Getting outside, getting the sun on your face, feeling the fresh air, feeling just the beauty that is being in nature and being outside. It is one of the best things for our soul to be outside. Take it a step further, ground yourself. There is nothing I love more, especially in like the spring and summer, is getting my bare feet in the grass and just grounding myself. I can feel myself just relax. Even just in the winter, especially in the winter, getting outside first thing in the morning, getting that sunshine on your face. It is so good for you. It helps you get into your regular systems and your circadian rhythm to start your day. We are so neglectful of spending time outside because of work or, life. But it's so important that we intentionally take time to go outside and to explore and to be kids again and to just spend time in nature. It is so good for the heart and the soul. Okay, last but not least, being intentional with your time and where you invest it. This is one that's so easy to overlook, but something that I think really needs to be all of our resolutions. being intentional with your time and where you invest it is critical. If you even think about this last year, I know for many people, myself included, it went like this. It flew by. I definitely was more intentional this year than ever before in my life. This year I want to be even more intentional. The key being the word intentional, meaning you need to consciously think about it. Where did you maybe invest time? And this is why reflecting on the previous year is also so important. Where were you investing time this year that maybe you're kind of regretful of? You don't want to invest that same time in that area again. You want to pivot, you want to shift. Maybe it's with a person, maybe it's at a place, maybe it's doing something, whatever. Reflecting back on the previous year of maybe how you want to shift that going into a new year. Our time is the most precious thing that we have. It is something, it's the only thing really that we can't buy. Making sure that you are investing it properly and accordingly is vital for good quality of life. So those are the 10 important resolutions that you might not have thought of, but that I think are life-changing, especially in the quality of your life and in your mental health. Yes, it's so fun, and I'm very excited that I have new goals for this year and aspirations and things I'm working towards in my career and personally. But if we're not looking after our well-being and looking after ourselves, these things will get forgot about. And when these things get forgotten about and we neglect them, they start to add up and pile up. And they do start to affect us whether we realize it or not. So I hope you take the time to sit down with yourself between now and the new year. Sit down with pen and paper. Get honest with yourself. Take some time to reflect on the great things that happened this year, the things you want to celebrate, the things you achieved, the things you overcome, what you learned, what you went through, and maybe how you want to take some of those lessons and learnings and make 2024 an even better year and the greatest one yet. The beautiful thing about New Year's that I love is that in some ways it is like a fresh start. Maybe you had a tougher year, maybe things didn't go the way that you planned. Let this be your opportunity to just shake it off, do what you need to do, seek the help, heal, whatever it is for you, to set a new pathway for your life. It is never too late, and your future is spotless. And you always have the opportunity and the control to pivot what your future is going to look like. And that can start any time of year, but what a better way in time than at the new year. So thank you guys so much for listening. Happy Boxing Day. I look forward to chatting with you all on Thursday, right before the new year. And I just hope that you're taking some time again to spend time with friends and family and those you love, to make some memories and just have some laughs, eat some good food, be merry, and I'm just very, very grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for making this year such an incredible one, and I am so excited to continue this journey with you all in 2024. So thank you all so much, and I will chat with you all on Thursday. Bye, you guys.